Hey guys, it's Jessica. Today we are going to be doing a video I've been working on for about a month now. You guys helped me with this one. So I want to thank Michelle Wong and Samantha March. They are the two that I've seen do this video before, and I think Michelle came up with it. So I will link both of their videos down below. Today I'm going to be getting ready with a bunch of drugstore products that I polled you guys on Twitter and asked, what is each drugstore brand's hero product? What is the product that they are the most known for over the years? And so what happened was really interesting, because let's take L'Oreal, for example. When I put out, what do you think L'Oreal is the most known for in makeup? Half of the people said the L'Oreal Lash Paradise Mascara, because in the past 3 or 4 years, that's been a huge product of theirs. It's one of my favorites. But the other half went more the OG route, so they went with like the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara, which is one I used to love years ago. I haven't tried in years. I'm excited to try it again today. So when there was one that was more of a toss-up, I opted for the one that was more like cult favorite, OG, been around for a long time, or maybe something that I haven't tried in a long time. I'm excited to share all these with you. I have pretty much everything for a full face. There's 1 or 2 examples where it's not technically one you guys picked, and I'll share why when we get to it. So this is end of the video, Jessie. You're getting a sneak peek of the look, but I wanted to let you know that my fall collection has launched, and I am so proud of the products that I have created. It's crazy to think that these are my like little dream babies that I thought up, but I love them all so much. I've got this amazing long sleeve shirt that says autumn that looks like one of those like collegiate shirts, and it's comfort colors, so it is like the most comfortable thing. That's like my favorite brand of shirt ever. So they're really cozy long sleeve shirts. Then I also created a grocery shopping tote that you can reuse whether you're shopping or just to carry things around with you. But it has the earth and a recycle symbol, and it says trying my best, and it's really well made and really sturdy. So I really like that. Then I also have this cute mug and t-shirt that say pumpkins and cider and leaves, and they're so fall-y and perfect for October and November. The shirt is so soft and comfortable. It's not one of those like scratchy type t-shirts. It really is a nice one. The mug is a little bit bigger than a traditional mug, which I prefer, and it has that same really cute design that I'm so proud of. So if you're interested in any of those products, I will have the link down in the description box for you to check them out. It's only available for like literally a couple of days. So if you're interested in them, now is the time to buy. I'm so proud of them. Thank you ahead of time for supporting me. Okay, back to the original video. So let me pull my hair back. I got these cute little hair barrette things at Ulta the other day. It was like a pack of 5, and there were like 2 sparkly ones and a couple like plain colored ones. I can link if I can find it online. I bought it in store, but if I can find it online, I'll link it below. So what's cool is in the end, I ended up with a basket full of just cult favorites, products that have been around for a while, kind of updated versions of products they had years ago. It's just, I'm so excited. So I've already moisturized my face and everything. For e.l.f., pretty much everyone said e.l.f. primers, but a lot of people didn't name a specific one. So I put out another question asking which e.l.f. primer do you think they're the most famous for? And overwhelmingly, it was the Poreless Putty Primer. Some people said their mineral infused primer. I know that's changed over the years, at least I think it has. So I figured, well, I already own this one and I do like it. So for this one, I really just get a little bit on my nail and I focus it on the nose, really just the T-zone. And I'll kind of spread it out a little bit. I do like this primer. This is one I've used before, and I remember e.l.f. having primer controversy because someone had discovered that like if you open the e.l.f. like traditional primer packaging they have, I'll put a picture on the screen of the type I'm talking about, supposedly you're getting way less product. I don't really remember how that ended. Like, was that actually true or not? I think they fixed the problem if it was true at this point, but regardless, every time I think of e.l.f. primers, I now think of that controversy, and I'm like, so anyway. But yeah, I like this. I think it does a good job filling in the pores, kind of smoothing that area. Again, it's supposedly a dupe for the Tatcha one. I think the Tatcha one works slightly better, but it's not so much better that you have to spend the extra money. You know what I mean? The other one you guys mentioned for e.l.f. was their brushes. So I might do a separate video just trying out a bunch of e.l.f. brushes. It's been years since I've really delved into the brushes they sell because I own a lot of them. I use a lot of them, but they've launched so many more. So that might be a few months in the future where I just focus in on just e.l.f. brushes. So when I asked you guys about CoverGirl, it was tied between the Lash Blast mascara in the orange tube and then the CoverGirl Outlast foundation. So I went with the foundation because I have another mascara we're gonna be using. I remember not like loving this, but not hating it, but I feel like I remember that it was breaking me out. We're gonna try it today and like pray that it does not break me out. I remember the original packaging a while back was like blue. So I got the shade 810 Classic Ivory. I was kind of trying to match in this store. Where I was buying it, they didn't have like swatchers or like testers out. It's thinner than I remembered. Let's just see. Ooh. It's a pretty good shade match so far. Yeah, and this foundation definitely has a specific smell that I remembered. It's not like a terrible, overwhelming smell, but it's like for whatever reason that smell is in my memory. Compared to no coverage and coverage, I would say it's like lightish medium, maybe more medium. We'll probably put a second layer on. I just can't get over how, I don't know why I don't remember it being so thin, but right now I'm really obsessed with that CoverGirl Advanced Radiance one, and that one is so thick. So I think I'm just kind of, my mind is messed up right now when it comes to foundation. I do my makeup in, for the most part, natural light. I have a couple of lights to kind of help light up the rest of the room, but pretty much a natural light. And the only tricky thing is every once in a while you get like sunspots that, you know, it is what it is. The finish of this is nice. It's very much satin, maybe leaning a little bit more hydrating. I don't think it's like a hydrating foundation, but it's a nice finish. It's not super matte, which I appreciate. And I think the coverage was really nice. So I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I was gonna put on another layer, but I don't know that I necessarily need a full, true second layer. I just kind of popped over the spots that I figured I'd need a little bit more. This is one I can see myself using some more. It was just kind of forgotten about for me. I am pumped about this next one. So this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser. This, when I asked about Maybelline, it was tied between this or any of the Fit Me line. Like literally most people weren't just saying the Fit Me foundation or their concealer, they were just saying the entire Fit Me line. So I chose this because again, it's been years since I've used this, but I remembered loving this. I'd actually already repurchased it before even planning this video because I wanted to try it again. It's got that sponge tip applicator. I remember this just being really easy to blend, just look nice on the skin. I have the shade Fair. I'm gonna use a brush. Gosh, it's been so long since I've used this. This is like a weird, cool blast from the past. These were huge though. Like when these came out, it was like the world stopped. This was like the Shape Tape of the drugstore. You know what I mean? I don't mean like coverage and finish wise. I just mean like it was that big. Everyone was using it and everyone was like, oh, the sponge is gross. You can pop the sponge off, which you can, but I actually don't mind the sponge. But look at the difference. Holy moly. It's definitely sinking into my fine lines. Not that that's a total like deal breaker or anything, because frankly everything does, and we're gonna set it with powder anyway. I feel like this color Fair is a nice kind of neutral shade too. It's not super yellow. A lot of concealers I find when I buy them will end up being a little bit too yellow. They lean yellow. And so it just makes my under eyes look a little odd because of my skin tone. So I appreciate that this is a little more of a neutral shade. So love that, excited to own it again. Remember the hardest part was trying not to get this crazy dirty. It's not gonna happen, you know it's gonna be so dirty by the end. But I really like this, I forgot, this is so much fun. All right, let's pop some powder on the under eye. When I asked Rimmel, literally I think the only response, I think everyone responded the Stay Matte powder. I don't think I remembered seeing a single other response. You know what I mean? But I've loved this for years as well. So I was like, tight. Again, I think I already owned one. This is just really a no nonsense powder. It soaks up the oil. I don't think it's anything so mind-blowing that you're like, wow, this is the best powder I've ever used. But it's a thinner powder. Look at that. I mean, that set my under eyes really easily. The one thing that drives people crazy is this like kind of packaging. For me, since I've loved this for years, I think I'd be sad if they changed the packaging because this is like, it's the only powder I own that does this, I think, and it makes my heart happy. So I can't explain it. All right, here's where things get dicey because I asked about LA Girl and overwhelmingly most people said either their concealer, which I hate the LA Girl concealer. I was like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And I'd already decluttered that concealer. Or their Shady Slim Brow Pencil, which is literally my favorite brow pencil of all time. However, I ordered that online and I have not gotten it in the mail yet. And today is the day I'm filming this. Like I've got a certain schedule and I'm trying to stick to it. But on top of that, I actually went into an Ulta store, like forget it, I'll just buy one there and then get the others in the mail. I literally was buying 4 of them because I go through them and I love them so much. They were out of the shade I needed, which was brunette, of course. So here we are. So when I was at Ulta, I picked up the ColourPop Brow Bosses. I've never used this before. It's around the same price point. I figured I'd try it. Not that this is ColourPop's most known for product because it's definitely not. We'll get to that in a minute. So I'm cheating, but I'm gonna use this anyway just because I need to do my brows. But with all of that being said, as I fill in my brows here, the LA Girl one really is the best. And so I was happy. I will link it below. I love it so much. I speak about it to death. It's $5.99 at Ulta. I don't hate this. I just don't love the shade. I think it's a little bit more It's kind of looking warm. In person, it looks very, very cool tone, almost too cool tone. And I like more of a neutral tone, but sometimes it can tip too far one direction or the other. Kind of more of a dry pencil, which I don't mind, but it just took a little bit more work than I typically like to do. So Milani, I asked about Milani, and overwhelmingly most people said the Luminoso blush, which I will be using, but a lot of people also said the primer, and I needed a primer category, so I did 2 for Milani, oh well. But I actually needed to buy this again because I haven't owned it in a while, and I really do like it. So this is one of those like OG, so many people love and use it. My favorite drugstore eye primer, I think. I've used some really good ones, like Ulta has a really good one, their matte eye primer. It's like 12 bucks though, and this Milani one, depending on where you get it, is half that price. So it's really hard to beat this. This is not the kind of primer that's gonna like totally cancel out any like veins or discolorations on your lids, but it definitely holds on to the shadow really well. So if you don't really care about that, you would love this because it does the job of a primer really, really well. So drum roll please, the eyeshadow we will be using. When I asked what is Wet n Wild most known for, a lot of people said those little trios they used to sell. So they no longer sell them anymore, but some people named very specific trios. And the 2 I remembered back in the day were Walking on Eggshells and the Silent Treatment. And those 2 were my favorite. Silent Treatment's a little bit more cool tone. Walking on Eggshells is a very like chill, light, neutral palette. I loved it back then, and I'm so excited to try it in quad form. What they basically did was they added a more of a transition shade, which I love. So if you've been watching me a while, you know I love just neutral everyday looks. If you are here for bold looks, you are in the wrong place on the internet. There are plenty of people that do way better than I do. So I'm gonna start with actually the brow bone color. And oh my gosh, I was so excited by this again, and literally, oh, that's icier than I remembered. I don't know how much I used that on my brow bone though anyway back then. I think I put it like all over the lid, you know. Let's go into this transition shade and stick it in. Oh, it's such a nice transition color if you're near my skin tone. So I'm gonna take my finger and get this eyelid shade. It's like a light champagne-y pink. It's so pretty. Wet n Wild shadows are good. I don't think anyone would argue anyone on that. Every once in a while there'll be like a dud palette, and they do so many limited edition palettes, and I do think the quality on that can differ. Some of them are really good, some, again, it's just hit or miss. But these like quads are all so good. So if you find a colorway you like, these are under $5 and they're really nice. There's this crease shade that I'm gonna use a little bit more of just a smaller brush really to get that. It's like a shimmery kind of brown. We'll focus that just in the crease. That was awesome. This is something I will actually use because for every day, in a way, this kind of reminds me of the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk palette that I really like because they're all really light shades. They're really easy to blend together. You can't really screw it up. Like that's why I like that. And this of course is like $40 cheaper than that. So I'm excited to use this some more. Why not? And I think the formula is just as good as it was before, if not better. And the shades just blend together so easily. Oh my gosh. So, ColourPop. I know I already used the brow, but that one doesn't count. So when I asked about ColourPop, most people said they're super shock shadows. So at Ulta, Ulta now sells ColourPop in store. When did that start? I ended up grabbing 2 shades. The shade Frog, which I actually had to repress because it was totally, I don't know how I bought this. It was totally disconnected from the center and dried up. So I had to push it back in. So I'm thinking about using that, but I don't know. And then I got the shade Amaze, which is more of like a gold tone, whereas that one's more pinky toned. Maybe I'll throw Amaze. And the way I've always used ColourPop shadows over the years is literally just as like a lid shadow topper. Because look how pretty that is. It's so simple, especially if you're getting more of a neutral color with glitter in it. It's like the easiest way to have a glittery, shimmery eye without getting glitter all over your face. That Amaze shade is gorgeous. I'm gonna be packing soon for a 2-week trip to Europe, and that might be going with me because that'd be so easy to top on like really any eyeshadow look to add that pretty glitter, like if we're going out to dinner at night. Here's the last place I'll be cheating today. Everything else I didn't cheat. So when I asked about Jordana, remember that brand? Overwhelmingly, it was either their lip liner or their Fabuliner, which is like their, I think, liquid eyeliner. So the only place I could see that sold it was Walgreens. So I went into Walgreens yesterday and the woman was like, yeah, I don't know if that brand's even still around. We don't sell it anymore. I'm like, dang it. So I was like, I don't have a liner. So I happened to see a new liner from Milani. It's their well, I don't know if it's new. I think they repackaged it. It's the Milani Stay Put eyeliner in 01 After Dark. So I like their Stay Put liner that's in the sharpenable kind. I think they repackaged it in a retractable kind, and it has a little smudger and sharpener. So I was excited about that. I figure, well, I need an eyeliner anyway, so at least try it out. That worked pretty well. I don't think it smudges as easily as, there's one from Sephora brand that's like $12, and they have a bunch of different colors, and it's a similar formula and idea, but it just smudges a little bit easier. This one's a little bit drier, but it still glided on really, really easily. So this is a nice eyeliner. I will end up using this up. I like it. And I think the packaging is pretty too. So for mascara, the L'Oreal Voluminous. I used to love this. I'm so intrigued now that I've tried so many more mascaras and I have different favorites. Will I like this as much? I don't know. Especially since like, I feel like so many brands have released, I mean, mascara's just gotten better, I think, over the years. Remember when that Maybelline Great Lash stuff in the pink and green tube, like the actual mascara, was like the best-selling mascara? Every once in a while I'll still see it like in an Allure best of. I'm like, what? Have you ever used that? It's like the worst mascara. I'm sure there's like 5 of you out there that's like, that's my favorite, but I don't get it, man. That mascara is awful for me. If I remember right, this was one that was way better the longer it had to dry out. You know what I mean? The longer it was open. Whereas like L'Oreal's Lash Paradise is like pre-dried out, so it's perfect the second you open it. You know what I mean? It's so good. I remember when the Voluminous line, it was really popular, and then L'Oreal released their carbon black version of it, and then suddenly everyone was obsessed with that. And I remembered trying it and being like, I don't really see the difference. I feel like they're just like messing with us. I think it was like blacker than black. That's the idea. So it was almost like blue black because it was so black. Does that make sense? I don't know. I felt like this I got in blackest black, and it's black. You know what I mean? How can you get blacker than black? I'm saying a lot of things. You left a mascara open overnight. Would it dry out? So that's pretty much 1.5 coats. I might go back in just to see, but I mean, that looks nice. So I'm using powder products for the rest of my face. So I'm gonna go ahead and use that Rimmel powder to kind of powder the rest of my face. I asked about Physicians Formula. Again, overwhelmingly the butter bronzer. I haven't owned it in a while. My thing broke and that made me mad, and I think eventually I just got rid of it because it got old, so I was excited to own it again. I got it in the original shade, which I think is just labeled bronzer. I have a lighter one too, but I remember trying that and not liking it. Like, it didn't do as much as I wanted. So, oh, there's that butter bronzer smell. It really is nice. I mean, look at that. It's very natural and it's kind of silky. It doesn't, it can definitely, I was gonna say it doesn't look like too much, but it definitely can. Like, if you're not careful, I could really go over the top with this, but just a light layer of it, as long as you don't mind the scent. It is definitely a strong kind of coconutty, pina colada type scent, which is fitting for, of course, what it is. But I'm realizing more, I am glad to have this again, because I'm realizing more and more I've got a lot of bronzers I've been trying, and either they just don't show up at all because I got more of a light version, or they're just too much, that even when I put it on exactly as I just did, it's like over the top, and then I can't blend it, and then I'm piling more powder on top and foundation to try to blend it. And this is very, I would say for the most part, this is very foolproof. I think it looks really natural, really pretty. All right, so back to Milani for real though. This was the winner for Milani. This is their Luminoso blush. They now have many more shades, but this was like their original peachy pink one. Definitely has like a shimmer to it. I feel like back in the day, it had like way more like glitter in it. And so I remembered not really liking it, and I've probably said that in videos, so I'm intrigued to try this again. It looks like they've taken some of the glitter out. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but... And I do feel like each batch is very different. You know what I mean? Because it is more of a baked formula. Ooh. Look at that glow it just gave. It's so, like, kind of natural. I am shaking a lot of this off of the brush, though. It looks so like flirty and like glowy. Like, I don't feel like I need a highlighter. I mean, look at that. I feel like my cheeks have never looked better. So for highlighter, I asked what essence was most known for, and most people said the Pure Nude highlighter. This is one of my favorites. I just pulled it right out of my collection, and the shade is number 1, Be My Highlight. Some people have said it's too dark for you, like if you're really fair, but I don't know. Mine's not. Again, I don't know if it's like every batch is different, if it's one of those kinds of things, but this is one that you can definitely build it up to be a lot more. But it also, I think, at its core is a more, it's like right between very light highlight and like extreme. It's like right in the middle. You can really build it up, but if you lightly dust it on, I kind of put it on like medium today. But I just think the glow is so unbelievably pretty. This is more of like a high-end feel to me when I have it on. I feel like, whoa, my highlighter looks really nice. I adore this so much. So not that we need it, but we're gonna put it on anyway. This is the Catrice Prime and Fine Dewy Glow Fixing Spray. This is what won for Catrice. I know that Taylor Wynn on YouTube likes it. I wanna say this Raw Beauty Christy likes this one too. Has a really strong scent. So if you're sensitive to smell, I would stay far, far away. Let's just see. Is this gonna be too dewy? So, not bad. It's not totally dry. I think this will be your best friend if you have really, really dry skin, or if you put a lot of, especially, not necessarily like the powder I used today, but like a loose powder, and you just wanna get rid of some of that powdery look. I definitely think it helped with that. It's not totally eradicated, but I've never met a setting spray that totally gets rid of the powdery look. But I mean, my skin, there's no doubt, is glowy and healthy. Woo! Well, I hope it's healthy. It definitely looks healthy. Revlon is such an interesting brand to me because I feel like they're very old-fashioned and they are trying just this year to keep up with the times, but they just keep like missing the mark. Like they get close, but they miss it by just a little bit. So one thing that has withstood the test of time are the Revlon Super Lustrous Lipsticks. This is what won for Revlon. I went to the store and picked out the shade Love That Red. I wanted to get a red lipstick from them. I used to really like Cherries in the Snow, but this one, we're just gonna see. Look at that pigment though. These lipsticks are, and have always been, very comfortable. They're very moisturizing. Obviously, I went in with no lip liner today, but this color is my kind of red where it's more of a blue toned red. So if you've been looking for one like this shade Love That Red is definitely a blue toned red. I think it makes your teeth look whiter. That's why I like blue toned reds. They're just comfortable. I do think they wear off a little quicker because they're, I don't want to say they're a thin formula, but like there are some lipsticks I use that are like thicker, like the Marc Jacobs La Marque cream ones that I love and the NARS Audacious, where it's like the pigment, it's just, the whole lipstick is a little bit thicker, but they're still moisturizing. This is moisturizing, but it's a little bit thinner of a formula. So I feel like for full color, I'll usually put on at least 2 swipes, and you definitely want, you'll have to reapply. It's not like gonna dry down. I like this kind of lipstick though. Obviously safer with lip liner, but I didn't have one for today. Moving on to the next category, for NYX, it was overwhelmingly the Butter Gloss. So I picked up the shade Cherry Pie. I remember this being a shade back in the day when everyone was talking about this. My personal favorite shade of these is Creme Brulee. It's the one I own currently and I use all the time. It's a very neutral, natural, like lightish pink shade. But I figured we'd toss this on top just because I do love the Butter Gloss formula. These glosses are unique in that they're not sticky, but they're also not crazy thick and opaque. They're not glittery. They're just like this comfortable, lightweight, slightly colored gloss, and I love them. I've loved them for years. I know so many people have, and they're inexpensive. So big fan of this. I don't know that I would say yes, run out and get the red, because if you don't want it to move around, you might not want this. But the nice thing is it is more of a sheer red. So if you kind of want that like Kool-Aid stained kind of color, you actually might like this a lot. So those are all of the most popular products from each drugstore brand. I hope you enjoyed. This was fun. Like looking at my makeup, that's what amazes me about drugstore makeup. There are so many good products out there in this day and age. You really don't have to spend the money. I would never have been able to tell looking at my makeup that this was all drugstore price. Do you know what I'm saying? I just feel like the difference between high-end and drugstore is really dwindling, and a lot of the quality is definitely there in the drugstore. So if you're interested in more of my drugstore videos, I've recently done a dupes video where I found my favorite drugstore products that are dupes for more luxurious products I've tried. I can link that down below and in the eye. Definitely subscribe if you appreciate drugstore style videos. I do them a lot on my channel. And I also hope you'll come say hi to me on social media. It's JamBeauty89. I post over there all the time, especially on my Instagram, about different products I'm trying. applying in the morning and showing you guys the process of getting ready and stuff like that. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.